Alright, so this is going to be my NBA Finals recap for Game 1. Let's get started. So obviously there's only one game to talk about here, but the Indiana Pacers beat the Oklahoma City Thunder 111-110. They were down by 15 points in the fourth quarter and ended up winning this game. So Indiana's been the comeback kings pretty much all playoffs. They had like 5 wins this season in the postseason, but they've been down by 15 points in the fourth quarter. That's kind of insane to think about, right? Tyrese Halliburton hit the game winner with 0.3 seconds left. Like, he has like almost 4 game winners, or at least last second shots to force overtime or win the game in this postseason. 4 of those in one postseason is pretty insane. And again, 5 comebacks of 15 plus points in the fourth quarter is also pretty insane. So let's talk about how this happened, right? When I was talking about the Eastern Conference Finals for the Pacers, I said every time they shot above 40% from 3, they won. Every time they shot under 40%, they lost. Well, their lucky number for this entire postseason is 36%. Anytime they've shot 36% or better, they have won in the postseason. Anytime they shot below 36% from 3, they have lost. That's not even a crazy number. 36% from 3 is like average, right? It might even be a little bit below average. I'm not sure exactly what the average is, but that's got to be either around the average or even a little bit below. And the fact that they're winning every single game when they're shooting average from the three-point line is pretty scary for any opponent they have to play, right? Because OKC in this game, shot 36% from 3. If Indiana shot 36% from 3, the math tells you they're going to win the game. OKC, not the case, right? OKC also only shot 39% from the field, which is obviously not pretty good. Indiana shot 47% from the field. Indiana from 3 shot 46%. Obviously if they would have shot 36% in this game, they would not have been winning if everything else would be exactly the same way. But let's look at their history again. Every time they shot 36% or better, they have won, which is kind of crazy to think about, right? In a game where Oklahoma City had 14 steals, Indiana had 27 turnovers, OKC had 14 steals to Indiana's 1. Right? OKC dominated defensively, and Indiana turned the ball over 4 times as much as Oklahoma City, that they still won this game, right? That's very scary to think about for OKC. You got an amazing defensive performance, and it doesn't matter because you still allowed them to shoot 46% from 3, right? It doesn't matter how many turnovers you're going to force if you cannot stop the 3 ball, right? That's pretty much OKC's biggest thing here. Like, they did good defensively, stopping, getting a bunch of turnovers, obviously, but you need to stop the 3 ball. That's a pretty big thing. Also, on their 24 turnovers from Indiana, OKC only had 11 points off of those turnovers, right? They kind of need to do a little bit better of a job on capitalizing off of Indiana's mistakes. 11 points on 24 turnovers is not good, right? You would love to be able to see close to 1 point per possession off of turnovers, right? They didn't even get half a point per possession off turnovers. That's not very good, right? Indiana had 4 points off of OKC 6, so definitely a better ratio there, right? Looking at the fouls in this game, both teams had about the same amount of fouls, so it's not like the free throws were a big factor here. Although OKC did shoot, 16% better from the free throw line, made 6 more free throws, but it obviously didn't end up mattering in the end. Both teams made exactly 39 shots from the field. It just happened that Indiana made 7 more threes than OKC, right? Very good game. Let's look at the box score, right? For Indiana, we had 6 different guys scored 10 plus points per game, or points in this game. That's pretty good. Their entire starting lineup plus their 6-man Obi Toppin all had double-digit points. For OKC, they had 4 guys with double-digit points. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was the only one that was actually shooting good from the field, right? He had 38 points on 46%, which is pretty solid. Lou Dort was good as well. He shot 50% from the field, but you got guys like Jalen Williams, who was 6 for 19, Chet Holmgren, who was 2 for 9. Those are your 2 main co-stars alongside SGA, and they combined for 8 for 27, or 8 for 28. Yeah, 8 for 28 from the field from your 2 co-stars is not going to get it done, OKC. Those guys have got to do better. Also, for whatever reason, OKC decided to start Cason Wallace over Isaiah Hartenstein, and that did not really make a whole lot of sense, and it did not pay off, right? Cason Wallace was, in this game, 3 for 9, 0 for 3 from the 3, had the worst plus minus of the game at minus 13, while Isaiah Hartenstein off the bench had 9 points and 9 boards in only 17 minutes. It had a +2 ±, right? I don't know why they decided to make that change, but Isaiah Hartenstein was much more effective in only half the minutes that Cason Wallace got. So I would expect them to go back on that and start Isaiah Hartenstein over Cason in Game 2, because it definitely did not work to start Cason Wallace. Looking at Indiana, right, I said they had all 5 starters score 10+ points per game. Also worth noting that 3 of these guys shot above 46% from field, right? That's pretty good. The worst of their starting 5 was 33% from Aaron Nesmith, while OKC had 3 different guys that shot 33% or lower in their starting lineup alone, right? That's not a good recipe for success. Also, bench points. I mean, OKC had Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein, do pretty good, get nearly 10 points. But again, Obi Toppin had pretty much as much as both of those guys combined. They also, played a pretty significant 10-man lineup. Indiana did, right? They had 10 different guys get at least 8 minutes a game, had 8 different guys in double-digit minutes, while OKC had 8 different guys in double-digit minutes as well, and they had 9 different guys that had a significant role. So both teams used their bench quite a bit. Indiana's bench was a little bit more effective, but OKC's bench was actually pretty solid as well. But again, overall in this game, it pretty much comes down to 3-point shooting, and that's really the only thing I can really focus on here. 3-point shooting, and I would say points off turnovers for OKC. Right, Indiana shot much better from the field overall and from 3, and then OKC needs to capitalize better on their turnovers that they force if they want to be a chance at winning this series. Also, Indiana has started up 2-0 against Cleveland on the road, 2-0 against New York on the road. So if they somehow can start off 2-0 against the Thunder on the road, it's going to be pretty much wraps. If they win in Game 2, then they're definitely going to win this series in probably 5 or 6 games max, right? That's going to be pretty scary for OKC if they cannot get this game figured out in Game 2, because you cannot afford to go down 2-0, having to go into Indiana and expect to be able to win 4 out of 5 games. After that, it's probably not going to be working out. So my original pick of Thunder in 6, I can still roll with that right now. I'd probably be leaning more towards Thunder in 7, but I still do think Thunder definitely have the chance, or have the upper hand to win this series. But if Indiana ends up winning in Game 2, it's easily going to flip to Indiana in probably 5 or 6 games. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check back after the Game 2 game, and I'll have another updated recap for you guys.